What do economists say about housing? The larger window of opportunity for buyers is likely to open only after interest rates have dropped materially, something we foresee in the latter stages of 2024 or 2025. That's especially the case for first-time buyers, who may be more financially constrained. If interest rates begin to drop mid-year, as many expect, there will be a lot of pent-up demand to satisfy in the market once confidence returns, which could heat things up in a hurry. But don't expect housing prices to fall much, since poor affordability conditions will restrain the recovery. While this pent-up demand could push prices up, mortgage renewal payment shocks could prompt more homeowners to put their homes on the market, which would keep supply and demand in balance. Robert Kavchich, BMO senior economist, foresees that a return to the rollicking price gains of recent years and previous highs for some locations is unlikely at this point. That's good news for buyers in places like Ontario, where he expects downward pressure on prices to continue through the spring. In line with most analysts, Kavchich says that the Bank of Canada is likely done with interest rate hikes and will begin to reduce them soon. We believe the bank will be in a position to cut rates around mid-year, with 101% of easing through 2024. In a February report, Marc Desormeaux, principal economist with Desjardins, also forecasts softer home prices and sales this spring, despite a surge in home sales in December 2023. However, Desormeaux also expects a broad-based rebound in home prices mid-year that will continue into 2025, in line with expected interest rate cuts by the Bank of Canada towards the middle of 2024. He forecasts that the strongest rebounds will be seen in the higher-priced markets of Toronto and Vancouver. The Bank of Canada's view of the housing market is important because its monetary policy affects the interest rate on your mortgage. When inflation is rising, the bank raises rates to cool consumer spending. As inflation falls towards its 2% target, the bank is more inclined to cut rates. In its most recent rate decision, the Bank of Canada held its target for the overnight rate at 5%, noting that inflation is coming down, but some components of the CPI are still too high to cut rates just yet. One of the most notable components is housing. Macklem reportedly said that he expects that the housing market will rebound this year, in tandem with expectations for interest rate cuts later in 2024, adding, however, that there is considerable uncertainty with housing prices. In January, the Canadian Real Estate Association, REA, updated its forecast for home sales and average home prices. REA notes that interest rates have been the major factor affecting markets over the last few years, and this is expected to continue in 2024 and 2025. The national home price is expected to rise 2.3% in 2024 to $694,173. National home sales and average home prices are expected to continue increasing in 2025 by 7.3% sales and 4% price, respectively. The biggest sales gains are expected to be in provinces where housing demand is strong, such as Alberta, and provinces that are rebounding from lower sales volumes, including BC, Ontario, and Nova Scotia. For context, home sales in 2023 declined 11.1% from 2022, which was technically the lowest annual level for national sales activity since 2008, according to REA's January statistics. On the whole, analysts expect interest rate cuts to begin mid-2024. However, the timing of this is dependent on the Bank of Canada being satisfied that inflation is under control. Interest rates affect demand for housing, as high interest rates can be a barrier for buyers getting into the market. According to CMHC Senior Specialist of Housing Research Tanya Barasa Ochoa, up to 2.2 million mortgage borrowers will be up for renewal in 2024 and 2025, which represents 45% of all outstanding Canadian mortgages. As interest rates go down, buyers who have been waiting for more favorable rates may get back into the housing market. This in turn can push housing prices up, which is expected mid-year. Sales volumes and prices are expected to increase in the entire country, but there are regional variances. According to the CREA's January stats, price declines of late have been predominantly located in Ontario markets, particularly the Greater Golden Horseshoe and to a lesser extent British Columbia. Elsewhere in Canada, prices are mostly holding firm, or in some cases, continuing to climb. Keep in mind there are substantial differences in market conditions between regions. A house in an urban center such as Toronto, for example, will be more expensive than a house in a smaller town or village. There may be greater demand in an urban center, resulting in a bidding war that is favorable to the seller, while rural homes may sit longer on the market, resulting in sellers being more amenable to price negotiations.